Hey folks, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at March of the Goblins, another mythic box from Helios Tabletop. Let's dive in. If you don't know from my last video about them, the mythic boxes from Helios are basically an encounter in a box. You get a tactical encounter, monster stats, and all of the miniatures that you need to play all of it out on the tabletop, making them easy to slot into your games. This encounter is the March of the Goblins. Personally, I love goblins of all varieties, whether they are comical troublemakers or terrifying but tiny engines of destruction. So I've been looking forward to this. And just like last time, the details on these miniatures are incredible. While they are 3D printed, the resin and industrial printers that they use are far beyond anything that you're going to get with home 3D printing. And that shows clearly in all of the tiny, crisp details and textures. The fur on the wolf and the saddle texture look amazing, and tiny details like the individual teeth on the hobgoblin, they're just so crisp and easy to pick out. I did have some difficulty choosing which mini to paint since the Wolf Rider and the Hobgoblin, they're just both so awesome, but I had some fun ideas to try on the Hobgoblin, so that one was ultimately just calling my name. I primed the Hobgoblin flat white. Now I did use the airbrush, but obviously a rattle can could do this just fine. Because of how detailed and clear the textures are on these minis, I decided to go with volumetric highlighting for the painting style. This is actually my favorite way to paint, but I really only enjoy it on the high quality minis. It's just so much more fun when the details and the volumes of the model are clear. I started by base coating everything except the metallics and the leather straps, so the skin, the fur, the hair, the cloth, all of that. Now the reason I do it that way is so that I can use one wash over all of those base coats and I don't have to worry about it shading down the metals. I have a different plan for those with this mini. For the wash, I wanted something dark, kind of a ruddy tone, so I used my favorite horribly named Citadel wash, Targor Rage Shade. It's kind of a dark purple brown, and no, I'm never going to stop making fun of the name. Once dry, that wash does leave our boy here looking a little rough around the edges, but don't worry, that's where the layering starts. For the skin, I take the same burnt orange I started with and mix in just a tiny bit of Cadian flesh tone. I paint over more or less all of the skin except for the very darkest shadows. Then I layer in a bit more flesh tone and do it again, but only highlighting the upward facing areas of the skin. Then more flesh tone gets mixed in, and I paint a smaller area, and so on, until I'm happy with the final result. The very last highlights, which are almost pure Cadian flesh tone, are only done on select parts of his face, the prominent ridges of the brow, and the tip of his nose, and tiny little dots on his nostrils. Then this exact process gets repeated for everything else. The green cloth gets painted in a lighter green, then a lighter green and a lighter green, and so on across the entire mini. The next step is the metals, and you are going to want to be more careful now. With the skin, cloth, and so many other things already fully complete, you don't want to have a slip of your brush here. So be careful and have a clean brush nearby so that you can quickly wet it and wipe away any mistakes just in case. Though his armor is a little fancy looking, I don't imagine a hobgoblin sitting down and ending a long day of beheadings and grand theft by having the discipline to polish and clean his gear. So I want to give him some nasty, rusted equipment. For me, that means base coating in a dark brown. While I do that, let me talk a little bit about the encounter itself. I don't want to get too spoilery, but I'll say it's a well-designed ambush encounter that is built to make use of the different weapons and tactics that are available to each of the different goblins. Now, it's exactly what I like in an encounter. It highlights the cunning and cleverness of the goblins and gives the players a genuine tactical challenge to overcome. If you want to check out the mythic boxes for yourself, you can do that from the link in the description, and you can use the code on the screen now to get a discount at checkout. That will also give a little kickback to the channel without costing you any extra, which makes it a cool way to support what I do here as well. They also have a 3D printing service, which is worth shouting out. So if you have minis that you want printed with this amazing level of detail and this very durable, crisp resin, they can do that for you. It's a service I'll be taking advantage of myself for the player character minis of my next campaign. Once everything is base coated in that nice chocolate brown, the next step is to take a bright orange and start stippling it on. I'm using a round dry brush for this because stippling will damage your brush if it's not meant for that technique. Now, as you can see, I'm just kind of going for random patterns, covering 40 to 50% of the brown with orange. After that, it's finally time to get out a metallic silver paint, and I'm doing basically the same thing over again. I'm just stippling it randomly onto the armor. For the silver, I do try to keep it pulled more towards the edges of the armor and weapons, or to the tips of the blades, or spots that look like they would frequently bump into things and have that rust scraped off of them. I also take a moment to grab more of a brassy metal color and pick out the trim on the armor and weapons just to add a little variety. Once that's finished, all that's left are the details. The eyes, the teeth, the leather straps. These all get really simple paint jobs, nothing more than a bit of paint and a wash. Which brings us to the final result. A fierce hobgoblin in some less than well cared for armor. Now, I love how this turned out, and I'm thrilled to be adding these goblinoids to my collection. I know I must sound like a broken record, but painting minis where the details are this well captured is just such a pleasure. It really is a world of difference from painting things like WizKids or Reaper. I love it. What do you think? Do you folks find that the detail level of a mini affects how much you enjoy painting it? Let me know in the comments. And go ahead and check out Helios Tabletop. They make some incredible minis, and as a new business, they sure could use the support. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and do all the YouTube things. It really does help the channel, believe it or not. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.